And we're back, and we have Ghost Sector in studio with us, taking a little break, eating some pizza.
Oh, yeah.
How you guys doing tonight? I mean, have you guys played on the radio before? Or?
Played a podcast before, but not radio.
Yeah.
Not where you got to set a dial.
Oh, is this sausage?
Oh, yeah.
So how long has Ghost Sector been around?
We started in 2013. We met on, what was it, MySpace? No, Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
Under the Misconnections page. I put, like, an ad out, like, to the Chinese guy with the guitar walking out of the music garage. I think would be a great fit. No, that's not how it went. It was on Craigslist, but I definitely didn't call him Chinese, or it was not on Misconnections. But that's kind of, we were just basically posted an ad looking to be in a band that's influenced by Lawrence Arms, Alkaline Trio, blah, 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 and Mike responded. And we just went through a whole ton of members up until now, pretty much.
Yeah, we used a lot of my old friends. My buddy Taylor was our first bassist, and my buddy Tony, who's actually listening right now. Hi, Tony. He was our second bassist. And now we got Ty, who's also been a very good friend of mine since 8th grade.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, the music, the music tastes in Chicago go up and down. I mean, for a while it was sort of like an evil thing, like, oh, pop punk,
Right.
And now, at least around here, we've had more bands with that type of sound coming in and performing. So, I mean, do you guys see like a resurgence in regards to that type of sound, or?
It's getting huge now. I mean, like, it really started to get big in Chicago when, like, Fall Out Boy, even Alkaline Trio a little bit earlier, but when, like, Fall Out Boy started to get big during their wave. And that's kind of what even launched Lawrence Arms, is because they had that, like, poppy vibe for, like, that style of crowd, but they also had that punk vibe from, like, Brendan Kelly's work that really kept them. So they were, like, a good bridge band between that wave and, I guess you could say, like, the punk rock crowd. But right now, I mean, there's a pop punk band called Real Friends that are from out by me. I used to hang out with those guys a lot, like, right before they even made that band, and they're blowing up. Like, they're so big, it's ridiculous. Like, I checked their Facebook, they have 200, 300,000 likes or something crazy like that, and it's it's just nuts, and that genre is really exploding right now, and I think it's awesome. You can't see me because I'm on radio, but I'm wearing a Knuckle Puck shirt. That's another band from, like, the suburbs by me that just got signed. They're on Warped Tour all summer, and they're huge right now,
I guess in regards to them, I mean, how do you think they got so big? I mean, is it just because they were lucky enough to get on some good bills? Do they have actual manager behind them getting them out there, or what?
Little column A, little column B.
Knuckle Puck specifically, they actually fought for creative control for a really long time on their record label, Rise. And, I mean, in all honesty, the music that they bring to the table, them specifically, is just light years away from just the typical punk rock band. Like, they are phenomenal. I can't get over how creative they are, and I think they deserve to be even bigger than they are. Like, they're just so good from a musician standpoint and just like a writer standpoint, and I think they deserve what they have. They're phenomenal.
In regards to your band, is there some members of the band that want more of the poppier side, and then there's some that want more of a, faster punk vibe?
It's a little bit of both. Matt comes from very pop punk influence. Me personally, it's kind of all over the place. There's this new band out, well, not necessarily new, but the band called Fiddler that I've been really digging lately. Yeah. Very popular. They've been on Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 is sweet. Yeah, it's the bee's knees, man.
Boom.
But yeah, like, as far as I'm concerned, I come from a more hardcore metal background, like Bring Me the Horizon, like Parkway Drive, stuff like that. But I also grew up listening to, like, Billy Joel and, even Fall Out Boy, whenever, like you mentioned, and stuff like that. So I always try to add all of those things into my style of playing, and I think that translates into a punk band. It doesn't allow for that cookie cutter kind of just like do-do-ga kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In regards to the lyrics, I guess who writes the lyrics and what influenced you?
It's a little bit of me and Matt.
Yeah, if any listeners, like, I'm sure Chris and Tony are laughing right now. Is that anyone who's listening who are into the Lawrence Arms, I'm going to keep bringing them up because they're a Chicago band, but not only like are we really influenced, we have that style where, like, again, Chris McCoggan's style is a little bit more emo-y. Brendan Kelly's a little bit more punk. He's the one who sings with a raspy voice, and that's kind of how me and Mike are. I guess he would take Brendan in the band, and I'd be Chris, but I write what I sing, and Mike writes what he sings, pretty much.
A lot of what I write is basically just derived from stuff that I see and stuff that I experience. Very negative stuff. Stuff that I don't really enjoy too much, but in a way it translates to how I, perpetuate my frustration and things like that. It's very therapeutic in a lot of ways.
Angry music.
Starting the band, I mean, did you want to go with the vibe of having two vocalists, or all of a sudden he's like, I want to sing my lyrics, or?
I mean, kind of just did whatever, man. Like, Matt had some songs written. I had some songs written for my previous band. So we kind of just meshed it together. And, Matt mostly sings the songs that he writes. And I'll sing the songs that I write. So we kind of just bringing both worlds together, in a sense.
So I know you guys write, the different lyrics and stuff like that. How about the music? I mean, does the band come together to make the music, or you guys... a certain person has a certain riff and like, okay, let's throw, my vocals behind it, or let me throw my lyrics behind it?
We're actually like changing that right now. Not completely, because what's been working for us is working, but a lot of it is like, hey, I have this song, this is how it goes, blah, blah, blah. We'll put our own little touches. It just depends on how specific someone is and wants to be with it. There's some where I'm like, oh, no, this is what it needs to be, this is what I have in my head. Other times it's like, oh, yeah, well, at this part of the song, do whatever you want, throw a lead, blah, 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 and just, let us take it wherever it goes, but it just really goes from song to song.
A lot of it's a lot of trial and error too. You can go and revisit a song 2 or 3 times at 2 or 3 different practices, and then, one week you'll think this sounds good, and then you'll come up with something the next week, and it sounds even better, or it sounds worse, and you just revert.
Right.
It's all that trial and error kind of stuff.
So I know you guys have been around for a while. Is there any particular venue that you guys enjoy performing at more? Do you prefer like all ages venues, or basement shows, or out in the suburbs somewhere?
Whatever, man. I would love to start playing more house parties, just because it's just no rules. Go crazy. one venue that I really like is Reggie's. I love Reggie's, man. Reggie's is dope. Like. The green room, the free beer, everything. Most of the free beer.
Reggie's is definitely like the biggest stage we play, most professional venue, where things are run to a T. Like, I mean, the sound's amazing. You're scheduled to go on at 9:30. You get on at 9:30. You get on stage at 9:25, set to play at 9:30. It's not Chicago style, where it's like, just keep delaying the show until more people here. Oh my God, there's no one here in the dive bar. Let's start the show now at 1 a.m. and they close at 2. So, I mean, that's really cool about Reggie's, is it's organized, and like I said, the venue itself's awesome.
Since you guys are sort of a local band, do they treat you well? Do they treat you professionally, like like if you were, I don't know, Screeching Weasel or something?
Oh yeah, are they allowed there? I think so. Reggie's is awesome. I have a really good relationship with the lady who does shows there, Ellie. Like I said, like the green room's really cool. It's stocked with free beer. They give you discounts on the food, and the restaurant's awesome there too. I mean, they've always been really cool
They
there.
always treat their bands well.
Yeah.
See, I would say that my favorite venue, just because I haven't played Reggie's, I'm digging Quenchers for such a small venue and kind of like
It's a fancy place.
Yeah.
like in like a local kind of atmosphere and scene. They sound really good. They're the room is awesome. Their beer selection is awesome. It's in a great area. It's relatively easy to get to. So I would say that's my favorite. For Liars.
I'd have to say my favorite, definitely a good basement show. There's I should get closer. Yeah, definitely a good basement show.
Rubbing up against
Yeah. What can I say, baby? Because there's a vibe in these basements, and you can pack, 40, 50 kids in a room about the size of what we're in, and you're not going to get a better, more free kind of vibe, as opposed to something more structured. There's an actual vibe there. There's an energy there that I feel like is really hard to replicate, and really anywhere else. That's where I feel like bands and their fans really are close and intimate, and they actually have an honest-to-God energy to them, and I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the great thing about basement shows, or is that you know, there's no age limit. So if you're, you know, if you're 17, you can actually
Exactly.
go to the show instead of like, you know, Quenchers is great, but it's a 21 and over venue. But
Because that's
Yeah.
because that's where it is, man. You know, playing the 21 up venues it's all well and good. You know, everybody, we all have a good time, but in order to keep what we're doing going, it's younger kids, man. You know, you got to bring them out and get them acclimated to this scene and get them want to continue in it. You know.
Yeah, you know, and in all honesty, Quenchers, Mutiny, or whatever, awesome places, usually really fun shows, and it's cool to be able to sit at a bar and buy beer at your shows and stuff. But what happens with those is you have Quenchers having a 21 and older punk show, and then you have the Mutiny across the street, and then 3 minutes down you have Liars doing it all on the same night, and that's just on one block alone. And I can name 15 different venues that on a Saturday, Friday night they're having all these 21 shoulder punk shows. So what's happening really is you find yourself playing in front of the other bands and the bartender, and maybe if you're lucky the door guy's standing inside instead of outside of the door, and that's kind of what really sucks. And you know, when you do get a walk up, it's usually, oh, there's so and so, the bass player of a band that I just played with last week showed up to support, you know. But where you go to those suburban all ages shows, it's a lot different. And I mean, what's a 17-year-old doing on a Saturday night anyway? I mean, they got to be in at 11, and they're not going up to the city and getting in at a bar, so they're going to go to a show. It's, you know, I mean, that's exactly that's how it was for us, you know.
Absolutely.
I guess talking about the kids, what got you guys into punk? I guess for all of you, what is like, you know, being a kid, you're like, oh, my favorite band was, you know, Jawbreaker or something like that, you know.
Well, I could start it off because it's not anything that would be similar to you guys. I started off with like Emery and Chiodos and the Fall of Troy, all kinds of music like that, the more emo side, and kind of just found my way to playing drums. I've always loved it. But I remember being just blown away by all the small things. And, like Travis Barker just
Yeah.
The Kid Spot version?
What?
The Kid Spot version
No,
or the real one?
actually, the
Oh,
Now
okay.
4 version, to be honest.
Wow.
Now 4, but yeah, I remember hearing Travis Barker and I was just like, this is amazing. I need to know how to do this.
I
Like,
think the first band I ever really listened to was Boys to Men when I was like 5.
That's beautiful.
and that made you want to
Yeah.
play punk rock?
Not really.
No.
I didn't make me want to do stuff with music, but I mean, Boys to Men.
What was your favorite song?
Do you want me to sing it?
Yeah, please.
I swear
Oh,
by the moon and the stars and the light, and that's all I know.
I don't think
You're not answering the question how you got punk into punk rock, Mike. Jesus Christ.
Boys to Men got me into punk rock. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Man, I was
did
I was a big Green Day fan, and then like I heard the Misfits for the first time, and people like making fun of me. Dude, Green Day's not real punk. This is punk, and I was like, oh my god, you're right. This is it. This is it. And yeah, Misfits took over.
I hope it was the real Misfits and not, you know, the Michael Graves version.
No, it was Danziger. I think Michael Graves was an awesome singer, though. It's just they changed their genre up a little bit, but I mean the songs were well produced when he was singing.
Beats Jerry
They
Only.
sounded a lot. They sounded a lot better with that lineup, recording quality that is. But no, of course it's a different band, you know. But yeah, no. I mean, I have a Misfits Danzig tattoo on my arm, so that'll answer that question for you. But
I don't know, man. I think the first band I can consciously remember really loving and really getting into was when I was younger would actually be Slipknot. I was going through a time in my life back then where the energy and the darkness of those albums actually helped get me through some really tough times, and it was one of the few things that I heard that didn't feel fake. It was very real, you know, very just real energy. I still consider Slipknot's Iowa one of the darkest records I've ever heard in my life. Lyrically, instrumentally, everything. They just have the whole package with it. And I don't know, as youth going through some wild things when I was younger, I don't know. That's just the first thing I feel like I really honestly connected to. Those were the albums that made me think, this is what I want to do. I want to play this. I want to hear this. I want to be around these people, this culture. You know, I was so intrigued by it.
Yeah.
I think that's really what kind of set me off, you know?
Very passionate.
Absolutely.
I guess since you were into Slipknot, do you notice like a difference between metal fans and punk rock fans?
Oh, it's awesome. That's great. I love it.
What would you say
It's
the difference is?
the difference I'd say definitely in terms of and this is just an obvious one, just crowd interaction. I feel like you can even narrow it down. You know, with punk rock, there's obviously the mosh pits and in the middle and everything, but then you get into metal and some forms of hardcore, it takes more of a form to it. You know, quote unquote dancing. And I think it's really interesting because I swear to you, man, every metal / punk rock show I've ever been to, the kids always fight, and I never got that. It was always punk kids fighting metal.
I know.
It's like
yeah.
we need to unite, man. We're out in here together. You know what I mean? And I don't know. And I feel like it can be a mentality thing too. I feel like depending on what circle you're in or whatever, some may have opinions that vary and differ from others, and then they can clash. It can be like an ideological kind of thing, you know?
I know this year they had what was that? What's the big metal tour that Slayer was on? The Mayhem Fest, yeah, exactly. But basically, the promoter sort of burned himself by saying, metal. This lineup is for nothing but old people. I guess. And
that's you're right. He literally, I don't know. I'm not gonna name names, but the dude kind of killed that tour with that, because now if it's just for quote unquote old people, which doesn't make sense anyway, but then you're pushing younger kids out and making the kids that are going to keep this music and this lifestyle alive, you're pushing them away. And that makes no sense to me.
I guess what would be your dream lineup or your big headliner that instead of Slayer? And
for metal or like?
Yeah, for metal or punk or anything. I mean,
I've always personally been partial. I'd say on a co-headliner tour, I'd love to see Slipknot and System of a Down tour together again. If you guys are hearing this, make that happen. I will be there.
I will pay $500 for one day.
That's it.
They were at Riot Fest. I guess for you guys, the other guys who are more into punk, what would be your dream punk act or punk lineup?
I actually work on a magazine. It's called Orcore Magazine, and I did this article called "Bands That Should Play Riot Fest," and I think they were listening to me because they got L7 on. But the band and Mest, I put them in there too, and. It's not necessarily headliners, just bands you wouldn't expect but have a good reason to play, like Mest. That was actually a really, really big Chicago band for a really short time. But, you don't see a lot of Chicago pop punk bands having music videos on MTV, and they did, and it was huge at that time.
Yep.
Wasn't it Pamela Anderson in the video, too?
She could have been. I mean, those were horny guys. They had a lot of hot ladies in there. But I would really like to see, since they're so good at reuniting bands, is either an Operation Ivy or a Minor Threat reunion at Riot Fest. I think that'd be insane. That'd be awesome. And I know they made an attempt to get Green Day to do a Green Day Dookie set, and it just didn't work. But for obvious reasons, I think Green Day would still be really cool there. But definitely, Operation Ivy or Minor Threat would be pretty sweet. You just can't really see those bands anymore.
If we're doing Riot Fest, my 3 headliners, the Gorillaz.
They're coming out with your album.
I know. Rage Against the Machine.
Nice.
And why not? Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Hey, you know what?
Riot Fest, that'd be
I wouldn't give, I wouldn't doubt Riot Fest doing something like having Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah,
they don't even need a headline. Just play.
They've gotten such random bands recently. But yeah.
Do you guys have any recordings out, or is everything up that you have up on the Bandcamp?
Everything is on Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes. We got a YouTube page out with just a couple music videos. Where else?
On Pandora, Reverb Nation, basically anything.
Yeah.
Most formats.
It's not hard to find.
It's really easy to find.
We just gotta look for it, though, I guess.
It's just not this lineup. It's
it's just with old members and stuff like that.
Are you guys recording any new music, which can be found at ghostsector.bandcamp?
Yes. We're gonna be recording soon. We're in the process of at that crossroads. Let's sit down and write a couple more and put something new out. Because some of the songs we played tonight were not released. 2 of our songs, Fool's Gold, and why don't I know the name of the one that I wrote? And it's my favorite song that I play.
2 more.
Yeah. We played those 2 tonight. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
My favorite song that I wrote. That one. Yeah. So we'll record those 2 soon, And those are two that, you know, I think actually technically that was the first time that was in any type of recording format aside from just playing live.
In terms of the recording, was it? I mean, was it a professional studio? Was it a home recordings?
They were all done in the basement.
They were all done in a basement that sounded extremely professional. I mean,
Professional
it's just
basement.
yeah, no, you know what it is? It's like he's got a studio name. It's just in his basement, but I mean, there's
Joe
a lot
Pocciero.
of there's a lot of awesome studios like that. And the equipment he has is great. He's excellent at producing, mastering, everything. Like
He'll
it
listen to
sounded
you
amazing.
too, man. Like, I feel like when people record you, if they don't listen to you and they try to put their own spin on things, it might sound a little weird. Just because it'll be that producer's vision, but he'll listen to you.
Yeah.
I think this next project we're gonna do in a pretty professional studio though. I happen to work at one, and so we get a little bit of a hookup over there.
Yeah, man.
So I guess in terms of the
To stay with Joe. But all right. Anyway.
for the recording, are you gonna
We have
help
the
make? Are you gonna help record it, or you're not gonna touch it? Since you work in the studio.
I mean, just because I'm there, if whenever my guy is working on the project, I'll sit in the room and we'll go over some things, but it'll never get printed like that. Like we'll always put it in front of the actual band before we print anything.
I know in the studio you can do wonders now. I mean, would you add any effects to your music, or would it be straight live?
Absolutely. I mean, I just got this really dope pedal for my birthday, and it just makes crazy sounds. It has this 8-bit sound that makes it seem like I'm playing my guitar out of a Nintendo NES or whatever, and then it's just a bunch of reverb and delay and stuff like that. And then I just want to screw around with a bunch of crazy stuff just to make it sound like nothing that anyone's ever heard before. I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, it's gonna be crazy, because it's not. It's just gonna be it's gonna be different and out there. I like effects. This pedal really opened up my mind to a variety of different things.
How about for the rest of you guys? I mean, do you guys like messing around with effects on your instruments?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of reason to, but yeah.
I feel like when it comes to effects, I'm a big fan of them, but it really, as long as it dictates toward the music, you know what I mean? If it works well for the track that we're trying to write, I feel like, then yeah, let's go nuts with it. But then we can all sit down and talk about it. If we don't feel like a certain one meshes well, maybe with the certain sound we're going for, then, yeah, we'll go from there. But I'm definitely a fan of them, as long as they're used properly, you know what I mean? Because if you throw too many effects, you can kind of lose the way of where you're trying to write, So, I don't know, but I'm definitely for them, no doubt.
In terms of the live stuff, when's your next gig? Do you guys have anything booked?
We don't actually.
No,
This
it's
is one of the
just-
few times that.
It's grind season, baby.
Yeah,
Boom.
that's kind of what it is. Right,
Winter is coming.
right. Yeah, and winter sucks.
We're just gonna write, be reclusive and write more and try to record as soon as possible.
Sounds great. I guess guys have any websites that you want to promote, or anything where they can find you guys at?
Facebook.com/GoSector. Just type GoSector on Facebook. Give us a like. We go nuts over that. It's like the highlight of the day is getting a notification that we have someone who likes us. No, yeah, I definitely do that though. That's really our easiest way to hear stuff from us, and it's directly linked to all of our music and videos and everything too. So it's kind of like a website itself, just within Facebook.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys, for taking the time to come on down and perform on WZRD. And,
Sure, thank you.
have a
Thank
great
you, sir.
2016. Thanks.
Buy the beer.
Angelus Domini nunciavit Mariae, et concepit de Spiritu Sancto. Ave Maria, gratia plena.